I'm here studying today as a member of the ExCo of COASA. So, for those of you who don't know what COASA is, it's the Commercial Unmanned Aviation Association of South Africa. And really this is a very short description because I don't know if many people are actually aware what COASA does in the background for this industry. Mr. Sekwabe and myself, along with other members of the ExCo, were in a meeting on Monday morning, 9:30, at CA's head office, discussing exactly the industry issues that were up on his previous slides. In order to have a good counterpoint to the civil aviation, you've got to have industry representation that brings the interests of commercial operators into the CAA. We have a long history of that in this country, dating back to, I think it's 1948, 49, when CASA was established, which is the Commercial Aviation Association of South Africa. They've been fighting for the cause of training organization, airline pilots, operators, charter operators, airlines, since that day. And that organization has a very rich history. I think there's 12 or 13 sub-categories, one of which is COASA, which handles all the unmanned. COASA itself represents not only the commercial interests in the drone industry, but we've come to realize as an industry body, it's got to be a lot broader than that. It takes into account education, awareness, stakeholder engagement, and parties which traditionally have even fallen outside of aviation. Data analytics, computer, IT, and if I look at Sean's schedule that he's put together for DroneCon, we'll find some very interesting parties that are doing things with drones and data which traditionally would fall outside of aviation. COASA was founded in 2011. Henny Kisser was the founding president. The organization has a constitution. It runs to that. Dean Polly, sitting in the audience here, is our president. And he's been sitting in the role for the last couple of years, standing toe-to-toe with the CAA on some of the issues that we now see movement today. COASA is a non-profit entity. As much as I refer to it as my second job, unfortunately I don't get my second paycheck. It's a completely volunteer organization. The ExCo, president, everybody works for free. And we're very thankful to CASA. I can't see anybody from CASA in the audience. But their funding has largely been what has kept COASA on its feet. So we get member dues and CASA funding. This slide has a lot of writing on it. I'm uniquely fortunate to stand here today following Mr. Sekwabe 10 minutes ago, where he said all of the exact same things. I'm going to scratch out the word problem and put challenge. Roughly 1% of the drones in this country are regulated. To everybody in this room wanting to be a commercial operator, operating safely, that's a real threat. The threat isn't that another commercial operator is going to operate illegally. It's the threat of the e-tolls environment. We're going to end up with too many legal operators. It's going to become too difficult to regulate. And our industry will get stopped because a private operator, somebody having some fun, is going to fly a drone off the end of our Tambo's runway and cause a problem. The commercial operators, and I should know, our organization is closely watched by CAA, we're strongly regulated. They come and check us every couple of months. We see the inspectors. They pop in and out of our offices. They know what we're doing. We've been through a process with them. But to Professor's comment earlier around buy and fly, 99% sits in the buy and fly space. The other challenge we face, technology is moving faster than the regulator can keep track. I really appreciate that they've acknowledged that, and also there's an engagement with industry as per the previous presentation. Coming back to that e-toll situation, one of the challenges, and it's the good and the bad, in getting an ROC, these are just facts that COASA picks up through the industry. And there's a lot more than this, but these are some of the items, 18 to 24 months, no, you need an ASL even though the regulations are changing, inconsistent application, unsustainable costs. From Mr. Sekwabe as well, you need to have your staff on salary as part of your organization while you're in the application process. It's a long time to fund if you're a small entrepreneur. The unintended consequences of this, we've started to limit the access into this market. That's a terrible thing in a country where we're driving transformation, we're driving economic growth, if we've cut the small entrepreneur out from this industry. Once you become an ROC operator and the hangovers died off, you realize, actually, I'm on the other side of the line now, but it's also just as difficult. As a standard, so COASA did a survey about a year ago. We went out to prospective operators, current operators, and we asked them a couple of questions, and one of them was growth rate. Almost to a company, either they did grow or they plan to grow 100% in their first 12 months. Sit on that for a second. You register 10 craft, 10 pilots, all of that cost. Within 12 months, you expect to be double the size. That's massive growth in any industry. Traditionally in aviation, you're looking at 3 to 5% more than GDP is your growth. Dr. Botha will be speaking a little later today. Aviation in this country is doing greater than 10% growth. In the early days of drone ROC, you're expecting to do 100% growth in your first 12 months. However, your hands get tied. If you're not able to add aircraft to your license or make changes, comments earlier about adding DV loss, those become real challenges to growing the economic size of your business and the industry. I'm really glad to hear around the last 2 points, things like this have been raised internationally and locally. So the logistical and administrative burdens and costs and the engagement with industry, those seem to be moving forward. Now, how as an industry body do you deal with this? COASA sat down, we got some very good minds around a big table for a couple of days. There was not a lot of alcohol involved. And we went into detail as to how, as an industry body, we can become a center of excellence to drive this industry. And there are 4 pillars to this. All of those issues fall into those 4 pillars. Standards and regulations, stakeholder engagement, technology, growth and development. And in each of those areas, COASA has skill and expertise in its member base that can be a counterpoint to a regulator, a government department, and industry growth. That has been a set of defining standards under which COASA operates. And quiet little plug, anybody out here who thinks they can contribute into any of those 4 areas, please come and see me or Dean over there. This is also what we do. Not often seen, not out in the media, but just a brief array of what's going on. Top left-hand corner was Monday morning's meeting with the Director of Civil Aviation, Mr. Sahwabe was with us as well, plus a senior team from the CIA. We handed over a dossier of industry issues to the CIA. Wide-ranging operators, applicants, enforcement, a whole range of things where we've put to CIA not just the issues, but also some suggested remedies in a fashion that we are hoping will work closer together. Up here is just a list of some of the engagements COASA's done quietly for this industry in the background. Whether it's meetings with the CIA, attending ICAO conferences both on this continent and in Canada, meetings with the JARIS team and attending JARIS meetings, and then various engagements. I know there's currently a military, the NCACC type engagement that's being done with CASA support. COASA's been building and adding to its web presence now to disseminate knowledge and growth and research. More and more we're turning to the web to do that because it's more cost effective. Over the last 12 months, COASA's upgraded its website, and we've got a couple of features in there that really can help you as the community. One of them is an enforcement feature. So if anybody out there is seeing illegal drone operations, use this tool as a simple way to get it through to the CIA. We, as the industry body, will herd and shepherd that and maintain feedback. And last but not least, in all of those areas, working as an EXCO, we've been pretty focused over the last 18 months around our presence, defining the center of excellence, and also dealing with some of the regulatory and standards issues. But as we start to put that behind us, if we truly want to grow the industry, all 4 of those areas will need to be covered. So as COASA, make COASA stronger. Everybody here can do it. If you want to help to grow this industry, to change this industry, to not just sit in the audience 2 years' time and throw tomatoes at CIA and say that the regulations don't work for me, get involved. It's an open association. There's space on the Exco. There are working groups that members of the Exco look into. And anybody in this audience is absolutely free to volunteer, and we'll accept the assistance with open arms. And then there's the 4 areas. If you think in specific areas you can really add value, please feel free to contact us. Here is our web address, and our AGM is going to be held on the 20th of July at Casa House. So thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your stay at DroneCon.